Hi, welcome back to the channel, Nature's Reality 360, where we bring you the reality of nature. Today is Tuesday, August 22nd. I got a couple cool stories we're going to go over. This first one I'm going to need your opinion on, so here we go, let's get into it. Apparently, we have nature vigilantes on the loose. You may not have heard of them, but they go by a couple other names. Maybe you heard of these. They go by rewilders, beaver bombers, boar bombers, the butterfly brigade, and my personal favorite, beaver black ops. Okay? Now, what these people do is they're reintroducing certain species into the wild. Maybe it's an endangered species, and then they find some and they bring them and set them loose. Maybe it's a plant that isn't growing anymore and they just start growing them. Some people think it's a great thing that it's helping endangered species, it's helping the environment, but some people think it's a bad thing because technically it's illegal. Okay, these people don't have permits, maybe they don't have the proper education or training. Not all of them are professional conservationists. Now, some of them do have credentials, but not all of them. And the issue is people are saying maybe we shouldn't just have random people, caring for, handling animals that they're not trained to handle. Maybe we shouldn't allow them to just release certain species and plant life into random communities and random areas. So we're going to go into it. There's two sides of the story, like everything else. To be honest, some of the scientists even support these groups. Certain people say they're the heroes of our time. Okay, they claim that they can get species overnight, basically repopulating, and when you rely on the government to do it with all the bureaucratic red tape, it just takes years and years and millions of dollars, and the results aren't too great to begin with. I've even mentioned that on my first news segment. So we're going to go over a couple things, and our first example is going to be right here. Alright, so when we're talking about the benefits of doing this, a good example is beavers. So I'll play this video in the background so you have something to watch, and we'll talk about beavers. Okay, so beavers, at the beginning of the 20th century, they were hunted to basically extinction. They were wanted for their furs, their pelts, their sweat glands, and then the settlers who came to the Americas too, they went after the beavers hard, almost hunted them to extinction. They say in 1900 there was literally 1,200 beavers left. Total 1,200 in Europe, and today there's about 1.5 million, and a lot of people think it's because of these nature vigilantes, I'm calling them, or the beaver black ops people that are reintroducing them into the wild. That's helped grow their population. And one of the really good things about having beavers is they dam up the waterways, which makes the ground absorb a lot more water, and that stops flooding. Okay, it also brings other wildlife. It allows different wildlife to build habitats. It brings more food for other wildlife. There's a lot of good reasons why having beavers build dams in your area, it could help. So it basically makes the ground like a sponge. It absorbs the water. That's the biggest thing, is it prevents flooding. But some of the bad things are beavers in particular may eat certain trees that are important. They may eat certain crops, so farmers don't like them. I know at one point in Europe, the farmers were just shooting them, and they were allowed to because they were tearing up the crops and there was no law against it. So ecologists don't like the practice because it can cause problems with people and animals interacting. The people who don't want these animals around, they also worry about disease being spread. A lot of their worries are ifs and maybes, but they do have a good point. When you have random people just bringing in random animals and start reintroducing them in random places, things probably could go bad. So you do have to be careful. But you let me know in the comments. What do you think? Do you think people should be able to just reintroduce certain plants or animals into the environment? What if they're endangered? That could be a good thing. But what if they're a nuisance animal? And what if the people handling them aren't prepared or educated or trained properly to do so? These are the questions that we have to ask ourselves. Okay, so let me know in the comments what you think. And that's just a story that I like because that's something like I like to capture and release animals. I like to help animals when I see them in danger or struggling. And it kind of, rang a bell for me because it sounded like something I might do. But you let me know what you think, and we'll go over it in the next episode or so. So, our next story, quick one, but you may have noticed, and if you didn't, go back and look through my YouTube shorts. I had spotted what I thought may have been a chupacabra. Now, some people were very skeptical of me calling it a chupacabra. Most people believe it was a coyote with the mange, and that's probably true. But if you look at this thing right here on the screen, that looks almost identical to the thing I was talking about. Now, this here is a chupacabra, supposedly. This was spotted in Texas, in somebody's backyard. And it looks very similar. Look at the ears. Look at the tail. Hey, all I'm saying is you never know. I might not be crazy. Okay, now the next story we have here. This is fun. Check this out. So at Bright's Zoo in Limestone, Tennessee, there was a spotless giraffe born on July 31st, and it is the only one that exists on the planet. Look how cute it is. There it is with its mother. We're going to watch a quick video. So this giraffe was just born. The video quality is not great on this. I have it turned up the most I can. And make sure when you're watching my YouTube videos, you turn the video quality up because YouTube's playing videos on low quality on default, just automatically playing your videos on a low quality. So make sure you look into that. But anyway, this spotless giraffe is the only one that exists on the planet right now. It's not the only one to ever exist. The last one was born in Ueno Zoo in Tokyo. So there have been others, but this is the only one to exist today. And what's fun about it is they're going to let you try to name it. Okay, so you can go to brightzoo.com, you can go to the Bright Zoo Facebook page, and you can go to this post right here. And unfortunately, they already have 4 names they want you to choose from. I thought it would have been more fun if we could add our own names. Maybe get Snarf Snarf O'Banion or something funny like that. Inside joke. But anyway, if you want, head on over to their Facebook page and they have 4 names they can choose from. Or maybe we can get in those comments and drop our own little name there. Get creative. Maybe if they get enough in particular names like a Snarf Snarf, maybe they'll go for it. But there's only one way to find out, so head on over there, let them know what you think, pick one of the names they offered, or maybe leave one of your own, be a little creative. But I thought that was cool. There's the giraffe with its little mama there, or the little giraffe with the big mama. Okay, and now our last story brings us to Yosemite Park. Okay, so you may have seen these stone formations. I'm sure you have on trails, on paths while you're walking. They call them cairns or cairns. Cairns? I don't know. Stone cairns? I don't know. But a lot of people like to set them up. In Yosemite, they're saying it's a problem. Park rangers are warning against this. They say it's actually bad to leave these structures up because hikers use them as markers. So there are like professional stone formations set up as guide stones. And what happens is when there's a bunch of these random stone formations, certain hikers have been following them off into the wilderness and getting lost. So it's actually not good to set those stones up. When you see them, you should knock them down. And that's coming from the park rangers at Yosemite National Park. Kick them on over. And I know there's already a group of people getting kind of ahead of this issue over on Flecka's Talks, the podcast. I heard it's the greatest podcast of all time. And you have to say it like that when you say it. So maybe go over there, check them out at Flecka's Talks, because they're making a big effort to help the hikers and to knock down these stone formations, because we can't be leading people off into the wilderness. It's not good. Some parks do use them, so they recommend maybe calling the park and finding out ahead of time. But I like this rule right here. They say you should obey the leave no trace rule. I live by that rule, and you should too. The leave no trace rule. I believe when we go out into nature, when we leave, there should be no trace of humans. Part of what got my channel started, honest, God's honest truth, this is kind of what got my channel started. Every time I go to a beach, every time I ride a bike through a bike trail, every time I go for a walk through the woods, there's signs of humans, and it's called trash and litter. And eventually, I promise I will be posting videos of me doing beach cleanups. It's something I started doing when I first got to Florida. I just haven't really found the way to present it in a video that's interesting enough to watch. But we will be doing that because that's a big part of the channel. We do not want litter. And I believe that's a huge part of the leave no trace rule. That's the trace. Every time you go somewhere in nature, you see trash left by humans. So we don't want that. We want a leave no trace rule, but that also, it relates to these stone Karens. Don't be a Karen and don't be leaving stone Karens. And when you see a stone Karen, kick it right over and say, Fleckus Talks, the podcast, the greatest podcast of all time. And send that video to Fleckus Talks. And they'll hook you up with some merch. Should go check them out after this video. So that's going to wrap us up today. Maybe head on over there when you're done. Make sure to like, share, subscribe on this video. We greatly appreciate it. Hit that notification bell. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope I'm doing good. I hope you're watching my other videos on my channel. I might have some popping up on the screen here. I'm still learning how to do all this stuff, but I greatly appreciate everybody who's been tuning in. My channel is actually doing kind of good. I'm getting some views, and I greatly appreciate it. Anybody who's watching, anybody who's liking and commenting, it really helps the channel, and I greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much. And the more I get going, the more I'll be able to do, the more I'll be able to explore, the more I'll be able to help the environment and the animals, and that's what it's all about here on Nature's Reality 360. And we'll catch you on the next one. Later. Woo!